Hey guys, Matt, Greg.
Oh, hey Raleigh. What time is it there?
It's 6. I'm ready to go. Kevin, what are
Oh,
you doing?
Oh,
it's
hey.
it's 11 o'clock in Heston, so 11 p.m. Sorry,
Well, man, this is way past your bedtime. I know.
I
Hey, I'm
know.
up, fresh, ready to go. It's 6 o'clock here.
That's
I'm very
okay.
tired.
I'm in Oregon, so it's only 9.
So,
Oh,
so
You mi-
Raleigh, welcome to our podcast. The first question always is, "What are we trying to accomplish?" And I think it's Matt's turn to answer that question to get us
It's my
started,
turn.
because
Oh,
we
okay.
always assume people have never seen this before. So, what are we trying to accomplish?
So this is Yac-ity Yak because our youth group was Yak. It stood for Youth After Christ. This
uh-huh.
podcast is an excuse to get together with people who are associated with the youth group, tell funny stories, reminisce, see where people are at in their lives and what they've done since then. Apparently, the popular thing is to work on a farm and cut down shatter cane. That's been two times, two episodes that has come up.
Or
So,
Dallas Closet.
Or not?
well, it was
Greg, do you have
Dallas.
anything to add to that
It was
introduction?
Dallas and Elwyn. Harder.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. For me, it's a lot of people I haven't seen a long time. I think it's been many years since I've seen you, Raleigh. So let's see.
Yeah, 25.
Want to do this? I may have
Wow.
seen you super
Raleigh,
briefly
what
at
did you graduate from high school?
what's that?
What year did you graduate from high school, Raleigh?
1977.
Okay, well, so like, just give us like the quick progression of your life. Like after high school, did you cut shatter cane? No.
No, never cut shatter cane. What did I do? Oh, I did work for a construction company out of Heston, a little bit.
Preferred
Then
builders or?
yeah,
Oh, all right, I didn't know that.
Gerhard Fast for a little bit, but that was maybe a little later. Let me see. After high school, I went to Bible college, where same place Greg did, Grace, the school that is now non-existent,
Oh,
and then I moved to Dallas in '81. Um, that's that's when I graduated. Um, I was there about 7 years. I drove a courier car company. I mean, they deliver packages, car all over downtown Dallas. And then I also studied music education.
oh, cool.
And then in '87, um, I went up and started working at Berean Academy. And that's when I first, Greg, sorry, I can't remember your brother. Greg, I remember seeing your family walk across that gym hall as Christy was coming to audition for choir.
Oh, yeah.
It's the first time I ever laid eyes on your
Uh,
family.
okay. Yeah,
Was
that was
was
87 sounds about right.
Yeah, and then so I was at Berean for 4 years, and in that time, Kevin, is when you came to Grace Community Church, and this whole Yak thing started.
cool.
When did you go to
So,
Spain? What year was that?
Um, well, okay, there's more to it. So I um, 90. I joined the mission that I'm with, Avant Ministries, in '93 and '94.
hmm,
Uh, 95, 96, and 87. Sorry, getting it straight. I was in Bolivia um, with teaching at a Bible school. Came back and then had a second stint at Berean and at Grace Community. And then I came to Spain in 2001 and have
What
been
town
here.
were you at in Bolivia? Can I ask? Elizabeth was in Cochabamba for a while.
Yeah, Santa Cruz. Though
Okay.
I visited Cochabamba once. Yeah.
I
So then since 2001, I've been living here in Spain.
Cool.
well, that's cool.
Very cool. So,
Got
you ever do bullfighting?
I've been to a bullfight and I've seen some on TV, and I've never run with the bulls, but I've watched it in July. There's 7 days where you have to get up like at 8 in the morning or and watch the running the bulls live.
well, that's early. Just kidding.
Well, well, here, the thing's a little later here. People usually start work at 9. Um, so, all right.
And you did a stint as youth pastor at Grace, right? Like 98, 99.
Well,
Maybe
yeah, it was.
interim.
When did you? It was between when you left and Jim Horning came.
Yeah, that'd have been 98, 99. So,
Yeah, I was the kind of the interim guy for a year.
so
Just try
Cool.
to keep things going for that
well,
time.
he did a great job. So, and we went
But,
skiing. I remember. Went on the ski trip with you.
oh yeah, that's right. We went to um, the Mexico, the Children's Haven.
Uh huh. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't do
and
that, but I've been there. So,
Hey, Raleigh, were you at Jim Horning's wedding reception in Denver a few years back?
oh, that's where we ran into each other. Yeah, I
I
was.
saw you like for 1 minute.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
would have been what, 2015? I don't know, something like that.
Well, I have a church that supports me financially in Colorado Springs,
Okay.
and so I stopped in and was able to stop in there. Yeah, that's right. Cool.
Cool. When
I
did
did a
you?
I did a retreat at a church in Oklahoma, and I walked in, and there was your missionary card on the bulletin board. So,
Oh,
Yeah, you're probably 10 years out of date, but
yeah, I still felt good
it's cool.
about being there. Like I was like, oh, this must be a good place. They support Raleigh. so
nice.
so
I had
I
forgotten.
didn't tell people I knew you though until like
Yeah,
after I'd been there a couple hours. So
Matt, would you?
Oh, I was going to say I forgot that you had gone. That you had a brief period there when I was still at Grace. That you had gone on the mission field.
Mhm.
And then you came back because I graduated in '96. So, um, when in there did you meet your wife?
Yeah. Well, she was a student at Berean when I taught there, and then about a year after, it was like 92,
Hmm.
two or so, 91 that we started dating, and then we got married in 93.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I remember you guys had gotten together and gotten married.
Yeah.
The other thing I remember is your acting debut in one of our youth group movies. I believe it was Robin Hood, Prince of Cheese,
no
and
answer.
you were the sheriff of. Did we call it Rottingham or was it still Nottingham?
The videos have disappeared, so we can make
I
it up.
know.
We can
Oh
make
yeah,
all this up if we want. I
that's right. Well, this is a good
thought it was an
time to.
Academy Award winning performance, Raleigh.
Well, I think it was greatly overshadowed by the extensive and painful dying scenes of I don't know how many people.
Nobody died like Greg Reimer, man. He would just wander across dying every scene.
That's right. Oh my word.
Yeah,
I,
I don't remember I don't remember that. I remember the name. I don't remember me doing anything. It was just too much fun watching other people
I think
stagger around.
you were the sheriff. Eric White was Robin Hood. Bert was Friar Tuck. A bunch
Man,
of us, a bunch of us were the Merry Men. Um, and then Aaron DeMoss was Maid Marian. I remember that. This is a good time to say if anybody knows where those movies are, we would love to have them. And
some
then we
people would
can,
love to have them.
and then we
Whoever
can
has
do,
them is probably hiding them.
and then we can do a telethon, kind of like for like on Monty Python. If you give us enough money, we won't show them.
So we're reminiscing, Raleigh. What are your like fun memories of like doing youth group, both leading it and man, I just remember we used to have you do music for all kinds of things and help chaperone things.
Yeah, I don't know that I really was involved until you showed up. Um, I can't remember. It was just fun doing stuff with you. Well, I don't know. I remember when you came to try out or to try out. What are like you and Marilyn showed up for one weekend to visit the church. We went on a hayride, and I think I remember hearing the girls sing this Gail. I can't remember her last name, singing these stupid little bug getting squished songs. Um, I don't know, just the silly side of people come. I think it was out at her parents' farm. I no, Stan Joe's place.
Oh, okay.
Um, I can't remember. Yeah,
Was that Philip Joe's parents?
Phil Joe's
Dad?
dad. Yeah, yeah, going on a hayride and just having a good time.
Toasting
Um,
marshmallows. That sounds familiar.
yeah, yeah. Um,
I remember
fun,
even
fun.
VBS stuff. You would always help me host that. You would be the straight man.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you guys were around when we did Dr. Schachter.
Dr. Schachter? It doesn't ring a bell. Was that, what was it?
Uh,
Can you describe it?
Kevin, you remember that? It was in a white lab coat, and I talked with a stupid German accent, or tried
Yep,
to.
I remember that. They were doing a whole thing on creationism or creation or something. Like
Oh yeah,
Genesis.
So
So
we probably were there. I
yeah,
remember I started to help out later on when I was older with the presentation at the beginning or something with crazy ideas that are probably
yeah.
cringeworthy now.
And then we did a takeoff on Who's My Neighbor. I mean, are you? What's the guy? Um,
Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers.
Mr.
Mm.
Rogers. Yeah, and it was all goofy and silly. I remember the year after you left, Kevin. I think some of the moms decided to have a normal VBS, which meant it was not nearly as fun, but probably what they wanted their kids to experience like they had when they were kids.
Oh.
Boring VBS.
I
I remember like
remember
Mark Anderson and I wrote curriculum and stuff. I mean, we
uh,
really tried. We had a lot of fun with that. Maybe
I
it
Yeah.
do
was fun.
I
So
do remember there was one, I think it was VBS, where we built like the model rockets, and Greg, you were like in charge of like launching them with your whatever the control box is that
Mm.
you have to. It was still while we were in Cedar Village,
oh man, that's a long time ago.
so we were launching them, and then we'd be like, "Where'd they go?"
Did we retrieve them all? I don't
I
remember.
don't
You
know that
never
we
get them
retrieved
back,
them all.
man. Some are in Peabody with our wind.
Yeah.
They just go forever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so Raleigh, I always appreciated that you could do serious like music, worship, hymns, but you could also do silly songs, and you would also write funny songs.
Write funny
You
songs.
would write like you would take a lyric and then rewrite the words. You still apparently you don't do that anymore. You ever do
Well,
that?
maybe it was so goofy that it wasn't worth remembering,
So
This
or
was
the
before Veggie Tales too.
it was you were way before VeggieTales.
oh.
You could have you could have made a ton of money.
Well, if you could come up with one of those songs, I probably wouldn't remember it
You sang one
anyway.
like when we like at our dedication, "Hello Mother, Hello Father" or something. Marilyn still remembers the song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she says so. She still remembers the song. But you would
Hello,
take
Kevin. Hello, Marilyn. Was that
yeah,
it?
yes,
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah. So
Harnessing Weird Al.
it would take common lyrics and redo songs. You got a kid behind you there, Matt. Did you know that?
Yes, I saw that.
so
Yeah.
so that was really it was really fun. So
Well,
you were like I mean you could also do a hymn and you could also do a chorus and it didn't you had as much enthusiasm and zeal for all of that kind of music, which I really thought was cool.
yeah, I like to do the fun stuff, not just boring stuff. I remember Pastor Dave, and I did a little um, uh, bedueling banjos thing with flashlights in our noses.
That's right.
That was. I
How
remember
many
that.
how many times did we utilize dueling banjos? Because we did the thing with Chucky, and Dave was the other banjo person.
It's
It happened more than once
it's like
Yeah.
because it was a smash hit. The whole
you
room
do it right
was
now. Let's
just
turn out the lights.
rolling on the floor.
You're just
well,
game
I
to do anything like that. I mean, be in a movie or whatever. That was wonderful. So thank you.
Yeah.
yeah, that dueling banjo. I remember once we did a reprise of the thing and didn't get the laughs that it got the first time, so it died a timely death.
Well,
Mm.
I think.
we used to have those Valentine banquets. Remember? that's where I think you did dueling banjos with the flashlights.
Yeah,
We did the thing with the buckets where you'd pull them up and they're different kinds of balls, and one of them was one of our heads.
Oh yeah. On the
And somebody would scream. Yes.
I
So,
seem to remember we had a talent contest at least once. I don't know if you
yeah,
guys remember that.
I think so.
yeah.
We did the coffee houses and did some of those kind of things.
Hmm.
So
One of the, I think when I was there on my own after you left, Kevin, one of the games that we did in the gym was no rules basketball.
Oh,
oh, I would love that.
I don't know. Were you there, Greg, still for that?
I would have probably been off to college by then.
Jeff
Yeah,
would have been a senior that
oh,
year.
yeah.
yeah.
The mix were there. I can't remember the years they were there, but
They,
it was crazy. We had to make the rule. You know those basketball uh, goals were movable.
Yep.
So someone got the bright idea. Every time anybody shot, they'd move the goal. So we had to make the rule that
One rule basketball.
that's right. So that was a lot of fun. Of course, ended up being most of the guys and some of the vicious girls who would put up with anything, and the timid ones would sit on the side there on the platform.
oh yeah, the stage.
But yeah, but that was a lot of fun.
So the next question I have for Raleigh, like, what are you doing now? You're in Spain and you're not a bullfighter, we gather from the conversation earlier. So
Yeah, I taught choir at Brian, and then when I went to Bolivia, I something that I kind of had planning wanting to do and was in my mind all even while that was Brian was go and teach at a Bible school, and so I was the music guy. I had a choir, taught church music, leading music in church at a Bible school in Santa Cruz. And then when I was coming back, getting ready to come back, and I did the working on a missionary presentation. We've all seen those. That's when digital video was just starting, and some people there had camera and software. So I made a video. I kind of loved that. So when I came back to Kansas, I took a couple courses in editing and After Effects and Premiere at a community college in Wichita, and then started getting into that. And then here in Spain, at that time, the place where I'm at, they'd been doing radio for many years, and because that was kind of dying and satellite TV was a big thing, um, they were building a studio. I was asked to come and join. So I wasn't that experienced, but I came to do Spanish productions here at a media studio, media place.
Cool.
So that's what I've been doing for the most part ever since then. And I don't do videos all the time, but that's been my main work.
how different are the cultures from like Bolivia to southern Spain, the Spanish? How is it I mean, I'm sure you can communicate, but is it is it very different or is it pretty similar?
Yeah, well, I noticed different. Latinos and Bolivians the people are pretty, they're warm and friendly. Um, and here in Spain, you don't greet people on the street that you don't know.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just they're a little more standoffish. But people are friendly and nice, but just not right up front. I think it's kind of like in the states and being in the South versus in the Northeast.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um, just a little colder, a little more detached. Um, the Spanish is pretty much the same. Accents are different. A few words are different. Of course, here, that's a third world country. In Bolivia, a foreigner really stands out, and they kind of put you on a pedestal, especially if you're a Christian worker. Here, nobody cares,
Hmm.
and there's so many tourists here from Northern Europe. You're just another foreigner,
Is that
and
good
that's
or
kind
bad?
of pardon
What's-
me.
Is that good or bad?
Well, I kind of like it. I kind of
Yeah.
like it. There's aren't these false expectations
Mm.
Yeah.
um, on you. I here in like going in Bolivia, I was late 20 or no, early 30s, and they acted like I was someone important and knowledgeable.
Oh,
When there were other people who were much more mature than I was. I have to laugh. Remember Irene Sperling?
Hmm.
She was an older lady, Sheila Busnitz's grandma. Um, and she told me, and she was very forward, uh, and she says, I was so worried about you when you went to Bolivia because you were so immature.
wow. Thanks.
Yeah, I know, and I thought I was quite the opposite. Of course, looking back, I realized she was quite right.
What town in Spain do you live in?
Malaga.
So
It's on the southern coast.
I bet that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's not the most beautiful city in Spain. Madrid, Barcelona have these big old grand Spanish old um, buildings, and this has some of that. Um, has nice weather, and a lot of British tourists. You know how Americans go to Cancun,
Hmm.
um, and this is that kind of that destination,
Mm.
Oh,
and
okay.
a lot of foreigners live here. Who can afford to move, and even like now since the pandemic, working distance working is really shot up, and so
Yep.
that's a big thing. You go downtown here, and you see tour groups, and you hear 4 or 5 different languages. It's pretty
That's
common.
cool.
Huh. Sounds beautiful. Sounds
Yeah,
beautiful.
there's mountains. If I have a balcony, if I kind of peek my head around the corner, I can see the sea
Oh,
um,
cool.
from
Nice.
here. We're about 50-minute drive. But
What's
it's nothing like Cancun at
Huh.
all.
Huh. Very
what's
cool.
traffic? What's traffic like?
Here, it's decent. Downtown they got buses, and so it's not. I don't know, city traffic. I have a motor scooter.
Nice.
Um, it's nothing like Kevin's uh, motor scooter gang in Elming that he always.
The toughest motor. Oh, there's the tough. I wasn't the toughest group. Toughest
Yeah,
gang. Actually.
yeah. I have joined no gang, but going around it's a 125, but it's like a city scooter thing, and there's a lot of those, and you can go in and out of traffic, cut up to the front of the line. Parking is so much easier,
Huh.
and
Nice.
and the weather in the wintertime, it never snows, and
Hmm.
it's the coldest it gets in the 40s, except for a few times I've seen it freeze here maybe twice.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
Um, so yeah, it's good weather for that kind of stuff.
If you'd like to live here, you can sign up for missions. This is a commercial for missions.
Right.
So it's like sounds amazing. Sounds very
Well,
nice.
that's kind of funny because there are a lot of missions people who headquarters out of here. They may not work here, but it's just a really nice place. There's places where people who work for member care for mission organizations who they have a place here because it's a nice holiday retreat thing, and there's really low cost airlines to all of Europe
Oh, wow.
and the Middle East. People can come here. So yeah, it's and so in my church it's half foreigners, half Spanish, uh, because of these missionaries who come and live here.
Cool.
So another question we have for you, Raleigh, like what gives you like joy right now? What's exciting for you, like in your life right now?
What's exciting in my life?
Gives you joy.
Yeah, I
This is
don't
where,
know. I,
yeah.
I have I have kids. I have 2 kids who live at home. Jack is the oldest, and he's 25, and he went back to university, and then Eddie, my youngest, is 14, and he's in ninth grade, and
That's
so
cool.
yeah, like a dad.
Yep.
That's and then putting together a good video that people like.
Oh, yeah.
That's well received. I really find a lot of satisfaction in doing that. I get involved in. I'm a part of a photo association. I took up photography
Oh, cool.
um, maybe 8, 9 years ago. Yeah, I'd done that as a kid, and then put it because it costs and lost interest. But yeah, playing my guitar. I don't know if you remember. I had this cool um, Gibson 335 that I
Hollow
had.
body, right? Hollow body.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember that it was red, right?
Yep, I
right.
remember that guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I uh, I had it stored in Paul Friesen's basement for a
Okay.
Oh,
while,
Paul.
and then and then he lost track of it,
Oh no.
Oh,
and
I think I
and
remember hearing this.
yeah, he lost track of it. I even put on Facebook or something. I put out a plea for this, and I don't know how many years later, his brother-in-law John was in a had to go into the basement for a tornado. Uh, um, Sirens were sounding, and under the stairs in his house. So it's Paul's in-laws' house. Uh,
Oh.
he saw this guitar case. So
Ah,
I don't know how it made its way over there.
Oh,
So
well, that's so.
about 3 years ago, I finally I brought it. You know, it's a '67 model, and I was afraid to
wow.
damage it, and so I bought an airline worthy case and brought it over. So I've been playing that, kind of taking that up again because
That's cool.
I play church guitar, and you kind of get on a plateau. You don't improve at all.
Yeah.
So I don't lead. I don't lead to worship at church much, except I'm like the number three backup. But I do play little licks and stuff on guitar. I'm learning that.
Do you have like a punk rock alter ego, kind of like outside of church, kind of like, I don't know if you ever watched Parks and Recreation. Ron Swanson had
Oh
this
yeah,
alter ego of a saxophone player, and nobody
Silver
else.
Silverman,
Duke Silver, yeah, Duke Silver.
Duke Silver.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
no, but my dream was always to be a rocker. I wanted long hair and be a rock and roll. I never had the guitar chops that Greg has. I'm
You
looking
taught
at your.
me.
Well, I started you on some jazz chords, and you passed me up fairly quickly. But so when you don't know anything, I know a lot. You know.
Well, I still remember those days. Those we had some good jam sessions back then.
Yeah,
We
yeah. I
did
remember.
12-bar blues. I remember that.
In fact, just yesterday, a guy came here. He wanted to do uh, take guitar lessons from me, and
Hmm.
I told him I don't really do that now. But he came and jammed, and I taught him 12-bar blues. He was
That's
already learning scales, and he knew the fretboard, and he's very intellectual approach to it. Hey,
yeah.
12-bar blues are easy, and I can do it. So we jammed. My
Hey, I was going
son.
to ask you once. Have you played? When's the last time you played Guitar Zan? Because the only time I've ever heard that song was you
Ray
playing
Stevens.
Guitar Zan.
Ray
Give him a hand. That's
Stevens.
all you can stand. Give him a hand. He's guitars and
Swinging through the
Nice.
trees with the greatest of ease.
yeah, in his BVDs.
Baby.
Yeah. Oh,
You
there
would
was
do that
that.
after like you got the worship set practice. Then you would do like
That's
Guitar
awesome.
Zan.
Yeah, and then
Get
there
it.
was
Get
Harry
it.
the
Get
Hairy
it.
Ape. I don't know if you remember that one.
No.
Who came
Yeah.
up with the what was it? The I don't It was the announcement song, Kevin, that you used to sing.
Oh, I learned that in camp a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
So
Announcements, announcements, announcements. A
Please
terrible death
don't.
to die. A terrible death to die. A terrible death to be talked to death. A terrible death to die. We sold our cow. We sold our cow. We have no need for your bull now.
Shut up, Dad.
Oh, I like hearing him sing.
I forgot about that song. So
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I took
I think you
something
could do
away.
the whole Ray Stevens catalog at one point,
Oh
Raleigh.
wow, that's awesome.
Well, I've my on the way to school. Sometimes my kids would listen to some of those songs.
So, so I I think you've answered all the questions we have. I guess the question I want to hear from you and Greg is, who's the greatest guitar player of all time?
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't feel like I can weigh in on this, so, but because I don't really know. But who would you say is the greatest of all time?
Well, I don't know. There's some guys who can really shred guitars, guys like Van Halen and stuff like that. But I think there's other guys um, more in the jazz
Hmm.
ar- area. I remember I used to listen to a guy named Al Di Meola. An old jazz guy was Wes Montgomery,
Mm-hmm.
Joe Pass, um, even Chad Atkins.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, and some of these guys, they just know their stuff. When you're not when you're depending on, and these guys would use these big semi-acoustic, uh, hollow body archtop guitars, and they're not depending on distortion and whammies and stuff. Of course, so there's the newer techniques like the finger hammering up on.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
that's pretty good. So those are some of mine. I remember Eric Clapton was said to be the greatest of all time, but he doesn't play guitar solos. He sings, and then
Hmm.
he does
I
the solos in between.
I think he
I don't
played
know.
on a.
Great.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Matt.
I
No,
was
go,
gonna say I think Eric Clapton was on the music video for Phil Collins for that one song.
Probably.
What was the song? Um, Take a look at me now.
Huh.
hmm
I have to go back in time on YouTube and see that.
Yeah, that was a kind of a solo type riff at the beginning
Oh,
and intermix.
okay, Greg, the greatest of all time.
The goat.
The goat.
Um, I don't know. You mentioned a few good ones for some of the old timey jazzy. I think Mark Knopfler fits in kind of the crossover category.
Uh-huh.
It's not like a shredder or anything, but he's just really super accomplished. He's the Dire Straits guy.
Hmm.
Somebody that gives Eddie Van Halen a run for their money is Nuno Betancourt from Extreme,
Hmm.
like extremely good. And then some of these modern bands like Polyphia, some of those guys are insanely good. Like I think they even surpass the Van Halens of the world. There's too many to keep track of,
Huh.
to be honest.
Yeah.
So Raleigh,
And
did you? I was gonna say, did you teach Greg the what was the thing that the mix asked you about that you do on the fret? Where you to you, Greg, you do your
It's about the F, I think.
was it
Oh,
yeah?
where I reached my thumb around and fret from the wrong side. I think you yelled at me for that, Raleigh. You told me not to
Oh,
do it.
well, I used to think there were rules about
Well,
this.
if you were trying to teach me the rules, I think you probably said something like, before you do that, you have to learn to do it the right way.
right.
Oh, well, that sounds so teacherish. Yeah, I'm sure.
My dad told me that when teaching me how to drive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have to do it the right way. Know how to do it the right way, and then later on, if you
Mrs. Zerker, our English teacher, said the same thing. She said, we got to learn the rules before we're allowed to break them.
Well, here, Picasso, the artist, is from Malaga, Spain. There's a
oh
museum here. And, his artwork is very abstract. And you think, well, anybody could do that. But there are things that his really early stuff is very accomplished. And it's,
I've
I don't
heard
know,
that.
more legit.
Hmm.
So he was a good artist.
Yeah,
So,
there's something to that principle. For sure.
pushing the boundaries.
Do you have a name for your hollow body, your red hollow body Gibson? Because you have Yolanda's your other guitar.
I've tried. I've tried to come up with a name, and the one that stuck was Red. Um, but that's kind of lame. BB King's guitar he called Lucille,
Oh, that's right.
and it's kind of a similar body. Uh, but no, there's nothing.
We could do a
Nothing's really.
contest.
We could do a contest, but then
In the comments of
Internet
this
poll.
video,
I
what
don't even
should
remember
Raleigh?
this, but in our newsletter, Yolanda would give advice. People
Oh,
would.
oh yeah, that's
and I mean, it was actually Jana Hines that wrote the advice, but people would send in questions to Yolanda, and I don't know if you remember that Yolanda had she had an advice column in our newsletter, dating advice and other kinds of things. So,
Yeah.
and
Well,
actually,
So
Jana Hines wrote the advice. You didn't, and your guitar did not. Just so you know, your guitar did not write it either. but
yeah, I called it Yolanda. There was a letter Y on the headstock, on the head of the guitar, because it was an Alvarez Yairi um, guitar. It had a Y in there, and so I don't know. And plus, I was single at the time, and um, the it wasn't competing with anybody.
so, well, Raleigh, I don't know if we have any other questions. You got anything you didn't get to say you want to say at the end, or
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, everybody else watching already knows all this stuff, but I don't know what you guys are all up to. Kevin, I've seen you a few times, and you're there in Heston. Matt, what's up with you?
so I'm up in Oregon. I moved up here in 2005 to get married to Tammy, my wife. We met at Mid American Nazarene University in Olathe, Kansas, and stayed in touch and hadn't talked in a while and reconnected. And we're like, I wonder if we should date. And so we started a long term relationship, and it moved quickly after that. And I'm a computer programmer. I know that's a surprise. But I'm a computer programmer now, and I work on research software. So I've got two girls. I've got Leva, who just turned 15 this last Sunday, and then the peanut gallery back there is Melanie, and she's turning 13 in next month. And so yeah, uh, yep. Just I'm well, gonna go back and visit in January of next year. So, do you ever make it back to the states?
Yeah, I usually go every 3 years, um, visit. Of course, get to be my age, you start attending more funerals. So
Hmm.
um, I was in April at my dad's funeral.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't go this year because I've got some health problems, some leg issues. Don't walk very well.
Hmm.
Um, but so I'll go back. I'll go back next year. I
Okay.
plan to anyway.
Do you make it back to Kansas at all, or when you
Yeah,
visit? Is
that's
that where you come?
where I go. I visit Grace Community and some other churches, Kerner Heights, and then
Nice.
other places as well.
is your mom in
Yeah.
Hillsboro?
Yeah, she's at a retirement home there.
Yeah. I think I visited Grace. Was it? I was trying to think. It was before or after. It's probably before the pandemic, but they have a new building with the sanctuary, separate from the building we were in, and all that.
Yeah,
It's pretty
it's
cool,
so
and I
different.
recognize people from there as well, from back in the day, including Jim Gaddert. He was still there. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
then Alan DeMoss. Trying to think. I think is Bruce Funk still there?
He's still in town, but he goes to a different church.
Oh, okay. But yeah, yeah, good times. Do you have any? What's like a funny story you remember from the youth group? We've had anything from Kevin stirring the Kool Aid with his arm to uh, trying to see how long people can put the sprayer in their mouth before they lose it. Um, a kind of a
Uh,
common theme has been we got away with a lot in the 90s that we probably wouldn't fly now. Do you remember any of those stories? Because it's been kind
yeah,
of a
well, I
com.
remember those that what you said. I was going to talk about the sprayer in the mouth, and I don't know who the champions were on that. Marshmallow eating contest. There have been fatalities with
Chubby
associated with
Bunny.
that.
No one does that anymore,
Yeah,
and that's a good
yeah.
thing.
We lived dangerously.
Yeah.
Um, Though I do remember, Kevin, you wanted to put a climbing wall on the end of the church, on the outside of the church, but the insurance guy wouldn't allow that.
That's right. I got
So
nicked
there
from
was
State Farm.
there
Oh
was
wow.
some control there.
That's right. The State Farm guy said no. I think Dave Reimer and the elders were pretty happy that they didn't have to intercede.
Where you're
Yeah,
like, we need to find a new insurance agent.
So, Greg, give a
yeah.
quick update for Raleigh. Where you're at, Greg?
Um, I'm in Colorado. I've been here since 2000. Got married around then, 2000, and three daughters, 11, 14, and 19. 19-year-old just got married, so and is in college now. So,
And what do you do,
Yeah.
Greg?
working for Amazon as a web developer. So I'm in the AWS division, so working on the data center side of things.
Oh yeah. I use AWS to upload stuff. Confuses me because the your interface is for people much more savvy than I am.
Hey, I get confused by that interface all the time, so you're in good company.
Yeah, but I know I follow you on Instagram. You
Oh
still
yeah.
playing a band?
Yeah, got some guys I play with on weekends, and sometimes we play in bars and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. We don't play a lot, but a few times a year. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that sounds fun.
yeah,
It was always my dream playing a band. Oh,
yeah.
when I was in Dallas, I was practicing with a guy, uh, another music student from the university, to do coffee shops and that kind of stuff. But I thought, that wasn't a future that I wanted to see myself in long term.
Yeah, it's not hard to it's hard to make a living being in a local band. I've found we've
Yeah,
made we've made about $1,000 over the last 10 years. Maybe 2,000. It might be actually
Ooh,
2,000.
200
yeah.
a year.
Well, my son
Your
Jack
taxes
played.
easy though. You're filing your taxes is easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my son is a keyboard player, and he went to 3 years of music school, and that's what he's doing is playing gigs in cover bands. But
he's
he played 3 gigs this last weekend. So he is a lot more active than you, but he's not doing original music, and so he
yeah.
feels kind of limited. But
Does
he's gone back to school to study. He wants to get in cybersecurity.
Huh.
hmm,
So you're right. That's a little more
that's
income offering there.
Oh
does he
wow,
play?
that's a big field. Yeah.
Yeah. Does he play guitar?
Well, actually, he does play both. Yeah.
You have to put a picture of a guitar in
Like
the.
Guitar.
Future Man from Bela Fleck, like the drum. He's just playing drums with his thumb on a keyboard.
Oh, I missed that. I missed that altogether. I thought you were doing a combination of keyboards and guitar instead of
There's
guitar.
actually it was like an 80s thing, wasn't it?
Yep, yep.
A guitar. Yep.
Yeah.
Short-lived experiment. so, so. Well, hey Raleigh, when you're in Denver or Portland or
Yeah,
Eston, Kansas, any of us would love to see you and buy you a cup of
Yeah,
coffee and catch
definitely.
you up for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
So,
Are
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
Facebook? Is that somewhere people can connect with you if they haven't?
Yeah. Facebook, Roland Walter. Instagram, Roland Walter.
Okay. Cool.
I,
and I've watched
Well,
some of your videos, though I don't speak Spanish. They look really good, and so, so they look really,
that's
really
cool.
good.
Great.
Raleigh, you do really good work.
yeah. Here, as long as you're plugging my stuff, you go to rolandwalter.net
Definitely.
and see my photography and some videos that I've done.
Yep.
I can
I
put
haven't
some of
seen your
those.
photography, but I've seen some of your videos.
I can
So
put some of that up on the screen too during the video or during the episode if you're okay with that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
well,
To
thank you, Raleigh. I
wrap
think
it up,
that's a wrap. Sorry,
one
I
last.
talked over you, Matt. Go
That's
ahead.
okay. One last thing I was gonna say to wrap up. What are some culture shock like differences that you've had in Spain versus in the States that would be news to people from the United States type of thing?
Well, it's I've been here a long time, so I've gotten used to things. when I go back to the States and I go into a grocery store and see a whole aisle full of breakfast cereal, that here it's very limited. People don't eat, and just that so many options. It's overwhelming. Culturally, I moved to an apartment building 2 years ago, and I wanted to get to know my neighbors. And so this, I was sharing the elevator. I live on the ninth floor, and with a couple, and so I introduced myself. My name's Roland, um, and silence. They did not reciprocate. So I thought maybe they hadn't heard me, so I repeated it, and silence,
Oh wow.
and that was really awkward.
Then you had to ride
But
the rest of the elevator way with them.
yeah, up to their sixth floor or something like that. So I've seen them, said hi to them, um, and even chatted with the guy.
Oh, cool.
But exchanging your names was a step too far.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now
Wow.
that was not true with everybody, but with them. So that was the line I crossed, I guess.
Yeah, I guess there are probably people like that in America, but it's not that common.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here, uh, like I thought, I walk with a cane now. Have multiple sclerosis, and people have been really friendly and ask about
Oh,
my
good.
health, and so I thought, maybe get to know the neighbors, have something in my house, a little dessert, some drinks, and invite people over, and it's a chance to get to know people, talk about God
Mm-hmm.
with people. And I have a good friend who also lives here. We have coffee together. I told him about that, and he said, "Oh no, that people don't do that. They don't invite people into their homes.
Hmm.
You meet at a coffee shop, at a bar,
Hmm.
um, but you don't unless it's your family." So he said, well, maybe at like one of the homeowner association meetings afterwards. That's like a public space, and so I was surprised at how he
Hmm.
was thought that was a bad idea.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Wow.
So you got to learn how to navigate. People are friendly,
Yeah.
but just not as initially open.
Just different boundaries.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We've really enjoyed doing these and getting together with people and finding out what's going on in your life and everything. And I'm hoping we can connect one of these times you're back in the States. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
great.
yeah. So thanks again for coming. I'll wrap it up then. So if you need to get a hold of us, anyone, you can email us at yackety.yak.podcast@gmail.com. It'll also be in the description. Um, and if you have any ideas of who else you want to see, oops, as guests, please let us know. Or if you want to be a guest, please let us know. Reach out to Kevin, myself, or Greg. And we hope you guys have a great day, night, whatever's going on where you're at.